This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know that, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends over there, over here on this glorious Tuesday, October the 14th of 2025, day 287th of the year, and only 78 days left to go. Anyways, how have you been? It's been a long time, at least 3 days, because, you know, the 3-day weekend will do that to you in regards of everything that's going on. So how have you been? How are things? As you can tell, probably by the sound of my voice, coming down with some kind of cold stuff. Not been a fun time, that's for sure. Anyways, but let's not get you too bored with that stuff. Let's just get into everything that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that seems to be important to do. So, our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just really the reality side of everything that goes on inside of here. We'll start talking a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and then we go from there. We have some professional broadcasters that come in, help out, and tell us about exactly what is going on inside of the world of the news, so don't get too hesitant about that. And then outside of that, we'll play with some factors of everything that else that's going on. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. Callinradio.com will do everything for you. Callinradio.com will do it. Once you get there, audio, video, text messaging is kind of the way that it goes. In regards, you have the choice. Once you actually make your pick, it'll give me a little prompter over here on the side of the screen, and then I know exactly what is going on. Kind of the simplest process in regards to doing some of this stuff, no doubt there. So, a lot of stuff, little time, kind of the way that it always goes around here, because, you know, we never know what the hell's going on, because it's always a grandioso time as we're doing everything. So our show is on a radio network that will go into a podcast and then to a video stream and all that kind of lovely stuff. So as you are taking a linger, if you're on the video stream, you can go to the podcast network or you can go to the radio network, however you want to do it. It's kind of a simple thing to do. So radiobig.fm, safetyfm.com will get you some of the stuff going on. And then you can find us on the iHeart radio stations and Odyssey. And then, of course, we have our own individual apps for all that stuff as well. So with that being said, why don't we start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, notable and noteworthy, Sam Bankman-Fried gives another interview from behind bars. Also, Mark Sanchez, X speaks out, and Reese Witherspoon wrote a book. We'll talk about that as we get into showbiz. Also, a documentary about Jane Goodall is in the works. With the actor was meant to take over for Steve Carell for The Office, and then we'll talk about details about that and casting calls, and not the casting couch, casting calls, and the Sussex steep out in NYC. We'll talk about that as we get into the Royals. So if you're ready, I'm ready. I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News going on and wanting to do all the stuff that they get to do. So if you're ready with them, I am ready for you.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. The World Health Organization has issued a warning about 3 contaminated cough syrups in India. These include Respi Fresh, Relife and Cold Riff, which has been linked to the deaths of some 20 children in India in the past month. Rebecca Bunton has more from Mumbai.
The cough medicine Cold Riff has been linked to the deaths of several children in India in recent weeks. Most of them were under the age of 5 and they died of kidney failure. It's understood that the cough syrup contained diethylene glycol in quantities almost 500 times the permissible levels. That's a toxic substance that's found in industrial solvents. Authorities have already arrested the owner of the company that makes the syrup, Shrisan Pharma, and an investigation is underway. Production of Cold Riff has been halted, and the state of Tamil Nadu, where the company is based, has said its license will be permanently cancelled.
US President Donald Trump has declared the war in Gaza is over as 20 hostages in Gaza were promised to return to Israel in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. He was speaking at a summit in Egypt where he signed a document with the leaders of Turkey, Egypt and Qatar, who brokered the deal alongside the US, but the contents of the document were not immediately clear and it was not signed by Israel or Hamas, neither of which had representatives at the meeting. Kate Fisher reports.
But Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, was there and shared a long handshake with Donald Trump in their first encounter since 2017. The Trump administration had denied Mr. Abbas a visa to travel to New York last month for the UN General Assembly. The next phases of any agreement between Israel and Hamas would include thornier issues the two sides are yet to agree on, including a full withdrawal of Israeli forces and whether Hamas would agree to lay down its weapons. It remains unclear whether such a brief gathering of leaders could make serious progress towards these goals. Kate Fisher, Washington.
The families of the last 20 living hostages held by Hamas in Gaza have been sharing joy and relief at their return to Israel after 2 years in captivity. But Israel says only 4 of the dead hostages have been returned after Hamas said it does not know the location of some of the other 24. Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
Throughout the day, we could see helicopters in the sky, and they actually circled around and did flybys over Hostage Square, where tens of thousands of people had gathered from the early hours of the morning to watch the scenes of the hostages being released on large screens. Now, while there was relief there, the hostage families received bad news elsewhere. Of the deceased hostages, of which there are 28, it was announced that only 4 would be returning to Israel today. Israel then began releasing the Palestinian prisoners in exchange.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the release of the remaining living Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza, as seen through the eyes of one man whose own mother was released earlier in the process. Noam Sagi feared for 53 days that he would never see his 76-year-old mother again after she was kidnapped on October the 7th 2 years ago. She was released that December. He watched on Monday as the 20 remaining hostages were exchanged for around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners held in Israel. And he says all the talk about a new era of peace dawning may not necessarily come to pass.
As long as kids in Gaza will do end-of-year play where it's all about killing Jews, then we put the wrong ideas in wrong people. As long as people in Israel are so emotional and so every raw emotion about the 7th of October is still very edgy, and there is that kind of tension between the two sides on a fairly similar angle. I think it will be very difficult to shift that, and it need a whole different educational program that start from age, 3, 4, 5.
President Trump said on Monday the way is now clear for Israel, the Palestinians and their Arab neighbours to embrace the end of the war and find a way of living up to the entire region's potential. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here. But for now, that is the latest Feature Story News. Ishan Garg reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in. and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Oh, yeah, we're something, all right. I just don't know what it is half the time, so don't worry about that. Anyways, let's see. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. Anyway, so let's get through some of this stuff because it's always going to be a fun time as we're trying to talk through some of this. No doubt there whatsoever as we're going through everything from the left and the right and everything in between. Okay, so with that being said, a lot of stuff to discuss, of course, because that's what we do. Sam Bankman-Fried continues to insist that he'll be exonerated on appeal, at this time in an interview that was interview with a far-left magazine, Mother Jones, given over a series of 6 discussions from prison through video chat. You know, I've never defrauded anyone, he maintained, though the jury was convicted him of exactly that. Bankman-Fried's parents, both law professors at Stanford, are part of a legal team working on his appeal, which has a hearing as early as this November. The appeal will argue that the law firms of Sullivan and Cromwell, put in charge of FTX bankruptcy, profited on the company's downfall. Sullivan and Cromwell did bill more than $250 million, and the man named to oversee the process billed $1,575 an hour, earned a $3 million fee for completing the bankruptcy, and another $30 million in bonuses. SBF says that he's just moments after he signed control of FTX over to a new leadership that he received the investment offer that would have covered up the whole charade. He maintains that at no point the company actually was unable to cover the customers' withdrawals, though he says that he needed more time to liquidate some assets to make good on all obligations. Worth noting, FTX terms of service explicitly said that no customer funds would be the property of or may be loaned to FTX Trading, but that's exactly what happened. Also worth noting, SBF has a 300-page unpublished memoir that he has written while behind bars called Manfred, which has the name of the stuffed animal from childhood that he kept with him up to his arrest in the Bahamas. So we'll see if something that will be something for psychiatrists to talk about with him in a future date. That's according to Mother Jones. Also, speaking of douchebaggery, Bill McFarland announced a music guest on whatever it is the weekend at the Caribbean that to start on December. Slim Jimmy, not a typo. Let's see, sounds like Jimmy, but I don't know. Will perform. Mr. Jimmy was also scheduled to perform at the original Fire Festival. So who knows? Who knows what's going on? I always get so confused by some of this stuff. What do you think about this whole mess? It's always the same thing. It's like you just don't know where any of this is going. Like at this point, the Fire Festival name, it's been was sold online. And then, we're just continuing to beat a dead horse. But then again, I guess 15 minutes of fame will always do that to you in regards to whatever the hell is going on. Anyways, an unidentified man climbed the steps of altar at the confession at St. Peter's Basilica and urinated on the Vatican altar during the Holy Mass last Friday. Local authorities quickly grabbed the man and removed him, but not before they bent over and pulled off his pants and mooning the entire congregation. Pope Leo XIV was reportedly shocked by the act. No word yet on whether the guy was arrested or charged. This is according to New York Post. Like, really? You got onto the altar, decided to pee on it, and then say, hey, let's do this. I'm going to moon the camera on top of that because this all seems like a good idea. Slightly confused on what people do sometimes. It's just a weird thing. I have pictures, but I don't know if the pictures are going to be worth it. If you go to the New York Post website, you'll be able to see it there. That's for sure. If that's something that interests you. Also, a new study published by the Science of Journal Communication Biology reports that 20 dolphins found in Florida Indian River Lagoon between 2010 and 2019 tested positive for brain toxins commonly affiliated to Alzheimer's disease in humans. The weird thing is the Miami-Dade County has the highest prevalence of residents with Alzheimer's and is located just 200 miles from the Indian River Lagoon. The study admits that there would be more work to be done to prove any correlation or causation. This is according to study finds. So there you go. What do you think there? Really, it does make it interesting if you kind of start thinking about the whole thing. It is a very interesting one. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. Anyways, take a listen to this. Regional airline WestJet has a new scheme to make flying even more absurdly uncomfortable. Passengers will now pay a premium if they want to have a reclining seat. The premium cabin on select flights has only 12 seats, and the only apparently premium feature is the ability to recline a few inches and a bit more leg room. But wait, the extended comfort section will allow you for more leg room, but still no ability to lean back. One analyst correctly tells The Sun, this is continuing evolution of ways of airlines to add charges to their fees and basically cut back on what you would normally expect to be included in your ticket. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like everything under the sun is pinch a penny, is the way that it sounds. I mean, just think about it for a moment. Like, we're getting to the point now that everything is being charged in most airlines, especially if you're not using a quote-unquote, what they are deeming now, a premium ticket. I mean, there was an airline for the longest time that, if you had a business class ticket, it was the same as the normal ticket. It just gave you more points. So is it worth it? I mean, I don't know. Just kind of a weird thing.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to save my voice today is what it sounds like. Man, I don't know what's going on. Okay, take a listen to this real quick. Lending Tree CEO and founder Doug Leba has died. He passed away on Sunday in an ATV accident on his family's farm in North Carolina. According to the company's spokesperson, Leba was 55. So there you go. Also in some other news, former All-Star Infielder Sandy Alomar Sr. has died. He passed away on Monday, according to a spokesperson from the Cleveland Guardians. Alomar Sr. kicked off his time with the big leagues with the Milwaukee Braves. He was 81 at the time of his passing. So there you go, some stuff going on right there. Anyways, take a listen to this real quick, because some people were going to want to know this. Eminem's eldest daughter, Elena Scott, is expecting her first child with husband Matt Mueller. Scott is the niece of M's ex-wife, Kim Scott, but he legally adopted her in the early 2000s. Her mom struggled with drug abuse. The baby will be the second grandchild for the rapper, as his other daughter, Haley Jade, had a boy back in April. So congratulations there. In some other news, take a listen to this. Comedian Tom Green has married Amanda Nelson on Saturday. The two are from the same town in Canada, but didn't start dating until after he moved back in 2021. Green was previously married to actress Drew Barrymore. So there you go. Okay, in some other news, take a listen to this. Egyptian president gave President Trump the Order of the Nile on Monday to honor his central role in negotiating peace between Israel and Hamas. The award is Egypt's highest state honor. Be sure to watch The View this morning as Elisa Farah Griffin rolls out the stage wearing a MAGA hat. Last December, following Trump's election, she said on the air, "If he gets Israel hostages out, I will promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show." So there you go. We'll see what happens there. Okay, in some other news, Vladimir Zelensky is expected back at the White House on Friday for a meeting with Trump, specifically to discuss strategies to force Russia back into the negotiating table. So we'll see what happens there. It'll definitely be an interesting time. Take a listen to this. The Dow increased by 587 points to close at 46,067 on Monday. The S&P increased by 102 points to close at 6,654. And the NASDAQ increased by 490 points to close at 22,694. The West Texas Intermediate closed at $59 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $63 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.08 on Monday. And Bitcoin stabilized after a bumpy weekend, trading just as high as about $115,000 range. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $600 million jackpot, or a $277.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. That is no doubt whatsoever there. So let's talk real quick about some stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because this is always important, or exciting, as we would like to say. Let's see. Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez's ex is speaking out about the former football player's arrest and pending felony charge. Bobby T, who shares 8-year-old son with Daniel, son Daniel with Sanchez, says that nothing that's going on is surprising, though she didn't expect why she feels that way. I am aware of a serious criminal charges currently facing my son's father, Mark Sanchez. Bobby began the statement by sharing that ever since has expired on Instagram stories. She continued on the writing that she only knows as much as the public does at this point, and her main priority is protecting her son from the devastating event. Sanchez has not addressed the incident other than telling reporters outside of the jail on Sunday that he wants to focus on his recovery. This is according to the New York Post. Be interesting to see what happens there, because especially with somebody in the public sector, on how that's going to go. So we'll see. Anyways, take a listen to this. Reese Witherspoon's first novel, Gone Before Goodbye, which she co-wrote with best-selling author Harlan Coben, will hit the shelves on October the 14th. I guess that means today. Speaking about the book, Witherspoon says that she hopes that the protagonist, Maggie McCabe, inspires young women the same way that her iconic Legally Blonde character Elle Woods has. As the critics of Witherspoon says that she doesn't care about their thoughts, feelings, or opinions because it's important to her. This is according to USA Today. So we'll see what happens there. In some other news, Michael J. Fox spoke to the Sunday Times about his 34-year battle with Parkinson's. There's no timeline. There's no series of stages that you go through. He explained, well, nothing that not many people live the disease as long as he has. As for now, he wants things to play out. Fox says that he'd like to just not wake up one day rather than succumb to the injury due to his declining motor skills. Injuries have become more prevalent for the actor, who says that he's broken his elbow, hand, shoulder, and cheekbone. Now Fox takes it easy and says that he tries not to walk around as much. This is according to the Sunday Times. So there you go. What else do we have for you? More than 300 items of Joan Rivers' estates have been auctioned off. Julian Auctions held an event last week which saw items such as x-rays of Rivers' dog Spike's throat. Let's see, what else? Shag wigs, royal family keepsakes go higher bidder. And let's see, as for why now, 11 years after the passing, her daughter Melissa Rivers told People magazine that the timing felt right and that she was emotionally ready to let go of the items. This is according to People magazine. What else do we have? Jennifer Lopez was stopped in her tracks as influencer Harry Daniels dropped to his knees and started to serenade her while they're on the red carpet while at the premiere of Kiss of a Spider-Woman. At first, J-Lo appeared terrified, but soon recognized her composure, got her composure back, telling Daniels, "You scared the shit out of me," and while giving him a hug. So there you go. Daniels has made a career out of singing poorly to celebrities. So a lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Okay, we are close to the 32-minute mark, so let's go ahead and do that as we are right there to talk about our main story, because that is what we do. So let's do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So I don't know. I should probably start off with apologizing with my voice sounding so terrible. I mean, I can barely even understand what I'm saying. So there you go. So with that being said, let's get into our main story, because it is always a good time as we are talking to discuss some of these things and to go through the rigmarole, because that's what it is. It's a rigmarole of stuff to go from here, to go from there, and all that. But here's the thing. As we are constantly talking, I always kind of go back to this main portion that I like to talk about. And it's this thing that always I go back to because I think it's important. And if you are dealing with safety stuff, if you're dealing within an organization, you have to have always values, and you have to always have principles. And I look at it as some of those things that some companies have, which they have these mission statements. But I look at it as that if you have principles and if you have values, you have to look at almost every decision that happens inside of the workplace if they're actually hitting on those aspects as well. Like, when you look at this and you go, okay, we're going through some of this stuff, do we talk about principles and do we talk about values? Because if it's not something that's being discussed, it becomes very difficult from time to time in regards of moving forward. It becomes very difficult from time to time on how you're making choices and selections as you're doing stuff inside of the organization. Now, in regards as the stuff that we work with, we have normally 5 principles, and we discuss those quite a bit on this show. But as you go through the aspects of life inside of your workplace, what are you basing the things on? Do you base them on something else? Do you base your decisions on what's going to make your managers happy, or do you base these ideas on something entirely different? I only ask this question because sometimes it becomes extremely difficult to know exactly what needs to be done. From time to time, I think that we have emotional events that occur that we decide to make our decisions based off of that and not based off of the structure that we are building inside of the organization. If you have X and this is the foundation, All ideas need to be built around that, off of that foundation, opposed to saying, okay, we're going to build something over here that makes no absolute sense to what we've been doing. And then sometimes people will go, well, hold on, don't you say that some of this stuff is like a cog you're adding to a wheel, opposed to it being its own standalone? Yes, I have said that from time to time. And I bring these things up because I think that they're important. And I also think that they're one of these things that, opposed to it just being a conversation piece, it needs to be something that we're looking at. And sometimes when you're trying to change the culture and you're trying to change things within the organization, you have to add these cogwheels, quote unquote, for the changes to start occurring. If you don't do them in that fashion, it becomes extremely difficult to have anybody to recognize what is going on. Imagine this for a moment, as we are talking about our principles question. If you walk into an organization and you're saying you've invested millions of dollars into our safety program, and now you want to change everything, it's essentially like telling people to throw everything away. So if you do it more of a cogwheel, it helps out. But it also helps from the standpoint that you're helping with principles. You're giving them principles to look at and to build around. So if I say this is the principles that we're using, and even if you have existing principles, you can add. That's the funny part, is that your values are always values. Can you have additional values? Absolutely. Can your values change? Absolutely. And this is where struggles occur from time to time. People sometimes are not open to that idea. And that's what makes it all interesting, because then you go sit around and go, well, what do I do next? And I guess that's truly the question when you really start thinking about some of this stuff. And it makes it extremely difficult to think otherwise.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Embrace a daily boost of nature with Field of Greens. Discover the simple power of one scoop to elevate your well-being. Enjoy the flavor that appeals to you the most and let the blend of organic fruits and vegetables enhance your life. Experience the following benefits with Fields of Greens. Noticeable energy increase to power you throughout the day. Improved quality of sleep. Enhanced digestive comfort and a general uplift in your wellness. Field of Greens stands out with the selection of organically grown ingredients, each carefully picked for its benefits to your heart and overall health. We are confident that you'll appreciate the benefits of Field of Greens. If it doesn't meet your expectations, we offer a straightforward money-back guarantee. Jumpstart your health journey with a special offer, 15% off your first purchase plus complimentary expedited shipping. Just visit fieldofgreens.com and use the code SAFETYFM to redeem your discount. That's SAFETYFM at fieldofgreens.com. Experience nature's touch at fieldofgreens.com/SAFETYFM. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. It's all about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio Big.
Okay, currently 44 minutes past the top of the hour. as you and I are hanging out, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. And we are doing a little bit of everything, of course. So with that being said, this right here is Majestic by Sergini. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. Give it a little streamer-eamer action if you don't mind. We would like to thank Sergini for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, so let's get into the move and the groove of the things that we need to talk about. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my life, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's twloha.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because it's always a good time to do that. So let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the box office. We normally would do that on Monday, but being as it was a holiday yesterday, we were not here. Well, let's talk about the top 10 movies inside of the box office. At number 10 was Good Boy with $1.3 million. At number 9 was The Strangers, Chapter 2 with $1.5 million. At number 8 was The Smashing Machine with $1.7 million, down from the number 3 spot from the previous week. Also at number 7 was Demon Slayer, the movie, Infinite Castle, $2.2 million. At number 6 was The Conjuring, The Last Rites, $2.9 million. At number 5 was Soul on Fire with $3 million. Number 4 was Gabby Doll's House with $3.3 million. At number 1 was One Battle After Another, $6.6 million. At number 2 was Roofman with $8 million. And coming in at the number 1 spot was Tron Ares with $33.5 million. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about, that's for sure, as we are taking a look around and talking a little bit about everything, because that's kind of what we do around here. Anyways, take a listen to this news story. Swipe right and get hired tonight. I said that. The job hunting just got a lot more fun with Swipeable Source, a new app from Y Combinator is basically Tinder for jobs. Swipe right and an AI applies for you. The app automatically visits companies' websites, submits application, and even gets craft cover letters on your behalf. The app builds on trends already popular among job seekers, using AI to tailor resumes and cover letters, but packages into this one seamless automated workflow. And sure, the companies might get flooded with identical applications, but the users, it's a tiny hack against endless void online listings. It's right on the work and let the robots do all the legwork. So to find out more information, all you have to do is go to www.source.jobs. That's www.source.jobs. And they spell source SORCE, just so you know. Also, nice, I'll be sure to mention on my resume that my dream job is one where I can get an AI to do all the work. And don't worry, the human aspect still remains, like when I completely blow the interview. I mean, I don't know. It gets so interesting and when we start talking about this in regards to taking a look at some of this stuff. So what have you looked at it? I mean, like, when was the last time you applied for a job? And I mean that in the best way possible. I mean, don't take that the wrong way as I'm saying that. Because it definitely gets interesting. I mean, let's not lie here. We're always constantly looking for new information on how to handle some of this stuff. And, when you start taking a look around and go, okay, now there's automation to do pretty much a little bit of everything. It's a good thing, it's a bad thing, depending on how you want to look at it. It just gets weirder and weirder every day. And I mean that with in a positive, not in a negative. So there you go. Maybe it's time to take a listen to the speech in the Ments, because, that seems to apply to a lot of things going on nowadays. We'll leave it at that. If you know, you know, and that's kind of the way that it goes. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Arthur. Sharon Bagley said, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known." I love this. I feel like this is the theme of my life. Each day, I meet people with amazing stories to tell, and I'm super blessed to get the opportunity to help them tell their story. Some people call it advertising. That's okay, you can call it that, but I call it telling a story. Here's why. That's what I love to do, to find the little hidden story, the reason they do what they do, and then find a fun way to share that story. When it's done correctly, people are drawn to you. There are many people in my area who sell houses, but I work with one who helps people find their dream home.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. As we were nearing retirement, my wife and I were called to serve a church in crises. Although she fully supported our decision to accept the call, once we settled in, she felt overwhelmed and wondered if we'd made a mistake. One morning she prayed, "Speak to me, Lord. Let me know if I can do this." She opened her Bible randomly, and her eyes fell on 1 Chronicles 28:10. "Consider now, for the Lord has chosen you. Be strong and do the work." Although the situation did not immediately change, she was at peace. God had spoken to her through His Word. Lord Jesus, fulfill your purpose in our lives. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Israeli forces have completed their withdrawal from northern Gaza as part of the newly implemented ceasefire agreement.
The truce, which took effect early Monday, marks a significant pause in the ongoing conflict that began 2 years ago. 20 Israeli hostages, believed to be the remaining living captives held by Hamas, were released and transferred to the Red Cross for medical evaluation. Aid trucks began crossing into Gaza from Egypt, carrying essential supplies for residents facing severe shortages. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Monday he will travel to the United States this week for talks on the potential U.S. provision of long-range weapons.
A meeting between Zelensky and Trump could take place as early as Friday, the Ukrainian president said, adding that he also would meet with defense and energy companies and members of Congress. The main topics will be air defense and our long-range capabilities to maintain pressure on Russia, Zelensky said. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
The U.S. government shutdown caused federal agencies like the Smithsonian Museums and National Zoo closed to the public.
Congress remains deadlocked over a spending bill as Republicans and Democrats trade blame for the impasse. House Speaker Mike Johnson called it the Democrats' Schumer shutdown, urging swift action before military paychecks are delayed on October 15th. The Trump administration identified emergency funds to ensure troops receive salaries on time. Jessica Oakley reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the dismissal of several senior officials amid a restructuring push by the Trump administration.
The move targets what officials described as outdated protocols and public health response strategies. Affected employees include directors of key divisions focused on infectious disease tracking and vaccine distribution. The agency plans to rehire specialists aligned with new priorities for domestic preparedness. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Severe weather battered the Midwest, spawning tornadoes and flash flash floods that forced evacuations in multiple states.
The National Weather Service issued warnings for Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri as storms dumped over 6 inches of rain in hours. Emergency responders rescued more than 200 people from flooded homes and highways overnight. Power outages affected nearly 500,000 households, with restoration efforts hampered by high winds. Kyle Norris reporting.
SpaceX successfully launched its Starship rocket from Texas, marking a milestone in preparations for NASA's Artemis moon missions.
The test flight demonstrated enhanced payload capacity and heat shield integrity during re-entry. Engineers confirmed all systems performed as designed, paving the way for crewed lunar orbits in the coming years. The mission highlighted U.S. advancements in reusable spacecraft technology. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Okay, there we go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2017, Harvey Weinstein is expelled by the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Science. The decision was made after several women came forward with accusations of sexual harassment and rape against the producer. That happened back on this date in 2017. Let's talk real quick about some birthdays that are going on today. Rowan Blanchard turns 24. Lourdes Leon turns 29. Usher turns 47. Javon Walker, 47 as well. Stephen A. Smith, 58. Melanie Wilson, 64. Beth Daniels, 69. Colin Hodkinson turns 80. Cliff Richard turns 85. And Ralph Lauren turns 86 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays that are going on today. Also today would have been Charlie Kirk's birthday as well. He was born back in 1993. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Dessert Day, Ada Lovelace Day, National Fossil Day, World Standards Day. Those are some days to celebrate if you're looking for some of those. If you need a rando-ando for today, I have a random joke for you, because what else would I have? I'm guessing I'll die never knowing what pumpkin pie tastes like when you actually have a room for it. What else? Let me give you this other one. What I do on the weekend after a few drinks is none of my business. I guess that's one way to look at it. So there you go. What else? If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What TV show title best describes your life? Yeah. Does something come to mind? Okay, cool. What else? Did you say leave it to Beaver? Okay, there you go. Okay, well, if you need a question for water cooler, try this one. 1 in 4 of us kept this everyday item in their car, but rarely uses it. What is it? It's an umbrella. Yes, an umbrella. I have one of those in my car. Matter of fact, I have 2 of them in my car. Yeah, kind of sad. But no, I lied. I have 3 of them in my car. Different sizes. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm to hang out and talk about the world of music and entertainment. I apologize about how shot my voice is from over the weekend. Let's see if we can take care of this and see what the hell's going on. That's for sure. So with that being said, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out, doing my stuff. If you want to stay here with Sheldon Primus talking about the world of safety consulting, you can do that as well. So a lot of stuff going on. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Hope is the best, or hope for the best, but be ready for the mess. Hope for the best, be ready for the mess. I think it's a good way to think about it. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.